So Patriots, what do you think you would have chosen to bring here to the battlefield?
Gun,
Yeah, guns.
food,
Yeah, hopefully some food.
water.
Water. Hopefully you've got a horse to ride. Your most important item would have been your long rifle, your gun. This is a tool. It's a tool for out on the frontier. It's not designed for the military. How do you think they would have used the tool?
Squirrel hunting.
You're hunting. You're
Yeah.
putting food on the table for your family. You're trapping skins to trade for what you can't make or grow. So this is your most important item. It's a very accurate weapon. I can hit a target at 300 yards with a rifle. Why do you think it's so accurate?
It has to be. For
Well, let me show you what a rifle barrel looks like. If you hold it up to the light, you can see there is a groove cut on the inside of the barrel.
Yeah.
This groove spirals the entire length of the barrel, which makes your bullet spin when you fire. You guys like football?
Yes.
When a good quarterback throws the ball, how does it come out?
Spiral.
It spirals. That's the same concept here. You're also using a bullet that's just slightly smaller than the barrel so that it can grip those grooves.
Oh.
So why in the world would the Army not want to use a weapon that is accurate at 3 football fields?
I don't know.
There are a couple of reasons. It's a very slow reload.
Oh.
I can only get off 1 shot a minute. There are a few reasons for that. It takes me a little bit to ram that ball down the muzzle since it's such a tight fit.
Oh.
I am also having to load from this. Y'all seen this before?
Yeah. Powder horn.
Yeah, it's a powder horn. I have to measure out the powder for my rifle and pour that charge down the barrel. That takes time.
Mm.
And I know that my rifle needs 80 grains of powder. Each rifle is unique. They take different amounts of powder. That's not very good for the military. I can't mount a bayonet on the end of my gun. The bayonet is the preferred method of fighting in the Revolutionary War. Let me show you what the bayonet looks like. This is the bayonet that goes on the end of your gun. What I have in hand-to-hand combat, or what you Patriots have, is your tomahawk.
Oh.
Well, in hand-to-hand combat most of the time, the tomahawk is not going to win against the bayonet, which we'll see in just a little bit. But we are not on your typical battlefield. This isn't what a Revolutionary War battlefield normally looks like. The trees at the time of the battle were old growth, which means they've never been cut down, so they are huge. We're talking 4 to 5 feet in diameter. To give you an idea, that means that some of these trees are so big that 3 grown men can hide behind them and not be seen.
Wow.
This tree here, we believe, was a sapling at the time of the battle. That's a young tree. So we'll start out, here's 1 of me, 2 of me, 3. So that big.
Wow.
They're widely spaced apart, and the canopy from their leaves that they create doesn't allow a lot of sunlight to get through. What do you think that means?
No undergrowth.
There's not a lot of undergrowth. The Patriots can move freely from tree to tree as you make your way up the hill.
Oh.
So Patrick Ferguson, the Loyalist commander here, chooses a battlefield perfectly suited for his enemies and for the rifle. Patriots, you are used to fighting in this type of environment. You've been fighting the Native Americans out on the frontier. So when you get here, you fight like the Native Americans. You are told to be your own officers. You're not waiting on somebody to tell you what to do. If you have a shot, you take it. If you have to retreat, they tell you to do that, but don't run all the way off. It gives you a flexibility that the Loyalists just don't have. So Loyalists, let's switch to you. I want you to think about, as we go to our next stop, why you would be here on October 7th, 1780. So Loyalists, why would you choose to be here on October 7th?
Following Ferguson?
Yeah, you're following Ferguson. By the summer of 1780, it looks like the British are going to win. Things don't look good for the American cause. You want to be on the winning side. But things go all the way back to 1775. You feel like the Charleston elites ignore you. Then those elites become the leaders of the rebellion. They're patriots. And they send militia loyal to them into the backcountry in the winter of 1775 and 76 to crush any resistance to the rebellion. So you live under Patriot rule from 75 to 80, 5 long years. When the British come into South Carolina, Ferguson is sent out here to you in the backcountry to recruit you into his Loyalist militia. He is a charming guy. He's convincing. He tells you that the British didn't come to make war on women and children, but to relieve their distress. That's a pretty good message to people who have been at war for 5 years. So you join him. There are about 2,000 of you that join him. There are 1,000 here at Kings Mountain. But then Ferguson threatens the Over Mountain men, and all of a sudden you're on the run. He stops here at Kings Mountain because he believes you'll be protected by the high ground. You're up on top of the ridge here. Unfortunately for you, you are surrounded by cover for your enemy because the hillside was wooded at the time of the battle, but the top of the hill, and you can still see it today, was almost completely bald. That means there are almost no trees on top. So while the Patriots have somewhere to hide, you are out in the open.
Ooh.
You are silhouetted against the sky, which means the Patriots can see your outline, and they can pick you off with their accurate rifles. So Ferguson didn't choose the right battlefield for you. As we move to our next stop, think about the way that Patrick Ferguson would have chosen to train you and how it would have been different from the way the Patriots fought. So Loyalists, how would Patrick Ferguson have trained you, do you think?
18th century warfare?
Yes. He's trained you to fight the way the British fight.
Yeah.
They use, for their primary weapon, they don't use rifles. They use the Brown Bess musket. This weapon is a military weapon. It is specifically designed to kill people. You do not go hunting with this. This is just for the army. Its effective range is about 50 to 70 yards. That's where it's best. So you're using this when you're about half a football field away from your enemy. There are a couple reasons why it's not very accurate. 50 yards isn't much. Got a musket barrel here. So what about the barrel
Oh,
you think would cause it to be so inaccurate?
it's smooth.
Yeah, it's smooth on the inside. No groove here. It's completely smooth. It looks like a pipe. It's like your modern day shotgun. You're also using a bullet that's a lot smaller than the barrel. These muskets are 75 caliber. You're using a 69 caliber ball. That's a whole lot smaller.
Yeah.
So the bullet bounces all the way out of the barrel. So when it comes out, you're not quite sure which direction it's going to go.
Right.
So why in the world would the British and George Washington's army want to use the musket?
Quick.
It's quick. Remember the way that they fight. They line up, shoulder to shoulder. You have 100 men in a line, and you fire all together in what's called volley firing. You can get off 3 to 4 shots a minute.
Oh.
So if 100 men are firing 3 to 4 times a minute, how many bullets are getting fired at the other side? A minute.
300 to 400.
300 to 400 bullets flying at the other side that's lined up just like you. So if I aim at you and hit you, does it really matter?
No.
No. So it's because of the way that they fought. So Loyalists, you've been taught this way. When it comes down to it and the other side's weak enough, you're going to turn to Patrick Ferguson's preferred method, the bayonet, which we talked about a little bit earlier. You would fit this down on the end of your gun, lock it into place. It extends your reach by 17 inches of cold, hard steel, and it leaves your barrel open. Most of the time you're going to go into battle with this already attached. You can still load and fire.
Oh,
You weaken armies with the musket. You destroy armies with the bayonet. Now, I'm going to bring back out the tomahawk that most of the Patriots had. You can see these are about the same size.
mhm.
This is on the end of a gun that's already about 3 to 4 feet long.
Hmm.
So you've got a big reach with the bayonet. Most of the time, this is going to win. But once again, we are not on your typical battlefield.
Right.
Ferguson chose the wrong place to have the musket and the bayonet, as we'll find out on top of the hill. Now I want to fast forward a little bit, because we've already seen that the impact of the choices these men make goes far beyond the battle. It goes all the way to October 7th, 1930, the 150th anniversary of the battle. On that day, we had a United States president out here at the battlefield. President Herbert Hoover, whose monument is just right over there through the trees, gave a speech to a crowd of people. That was the last time this area was clear cut, and it's because there were 75,000 people that came out here to hear him on that day.
Wow.
And on that day, he gave a speech that shows the impact of these choices. He said, "It was a little army and a little battle, but it was of mighty portent. History has done scant justice to its significance, which rightly should place it beside Lexington and Bunker Hill, Trenton and Yorktown, and it's one of the crucial engagements in our long struggle for independence." So when Hoover comes here, he culminates years of effort to get this battlefield recognized for being important. He shows how important those choices were. Now, as we make our way up the hill, I want both groups to imagine, both Patriot and Loyalist, what it would have been like to try to fight on this battlefield. Loyalists, you've got the musket and the bayonet. Patriots, you have the rifle and the tomahawk.